I give you really all the credit on that.
I believe when God has his hand in a purpose, the possibilities are endless.
I want people achieving. I want people overcoming their crap and their issues and moving in a certain direction.
We are still a marriage. We're still individuals and human beings as well.
Hey everybody, it's Red Taylor, and I've got a big favor to ask of you. Help us to try to grow this show. If you would go down and like and subscribe, and also please turn on notifications. That way you're notified as soon as new content drops. Also, please share the show with someone that you know. That would mean the absolute world to me, and you never know, it could mean the world to helping them as well. So thanks a million. Enjoy the show. Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Red Hot Read. And man, am I excited today for our guest. You need to go ahead and buckle up because you're in for a treat. We've got a surprise visitor today from the one and only Stephanie Taylor, who is my wife and just walked into the studio and got completely bombarded by me and Vince that she was going to be in the Red Hot Read hot seat today. So, Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Gee, thank you.
No, you and I have actually talked a lot about, us getting on the show and doing some of these together. And it's really been on my heart for a while because I feel like you have so much to offer. We have so much to offer. And you're extremely passionate about telling your story and really helping others. I mean, you're a people pleaser. You're one of the most kind persons and human beings that I've ever met in my life. And so I think that having you on the show and you being able to get your message out to other people is really, really important. So thanks for being here.
I feel like you're trying to get brownie points right now.
I am, absolutely. Every word should equal one brownie point at least, right?
I appreciate the kindness. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What's your career? Are you a stay-at-home mom? Do you, wash clothes? Do you have a business? Tell us about yourself.
I am not a stay-at-home mom. I am a full-time working mother. I don't know that you can officially define my career fully because I feel like it's one of a million. I am a realtor. I also try to assist you here within the business best I can. I also assist with our personal investments like our rental houses. So that's always fun and looking for additional investments for us. Flip properties when we find properties that we can flip. And then, of course, wrangle our combined 6 children and grandbabies and dogs and mammas and everything else that I'm responsible for.
The whole crazy that is our life.
It's a circus.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I think that our story is so valuable to other people. It's because, it lets everybody see into our lives that we're two really, really imperfect people. And what we did is we made a decision almost 10 years ago now to combine our lives together. We're a mixed family, a blended family. I had 3 children coming in. You had 3 children coming in. And so now we are almost a decade into blending these 2 families together along with 2 careers together and all of the extended family and all of the challenges that go along with that. And, we're doing it together is the big thing. What do you see as some of the most daunting challenges that we face, in doing that?
I really think it's not only blending our immediate family, our children. You obviously have lost both your mother and your father, and all of your additional family is further away. So it's a little bit different on my side. My mother can come over unannounced. My sisters.
Yes, she can.
Most importantly, my mama, something that we really never had a conversation about when we first got together. And I think that was a big adjustment for you. My family doesn't knock. They don't call. They don't request. They just show up.
Can we go ahead and rephrase that? Nobody knocks on the door. Nobody at my house, at our house, there's never that. There's never a knock at the door. It just opens and in comes chaos.
Complete chaos. And it's definitely something from the first time we got together, I don't think you were ready for. I mean, you knew you were signing up for me. You knew you were signing up for my 3 children. But the whole slew of family that, was semi-hidden in the background didn't come into the picture until you already made that commitment. I was saving that. I kind of like kept that in the trunk. I was like, there's only so much crazy I can unleash.
Yeah.
At one time. And when you haven't lived that life, when you haven't had family, I think your son even asked at the beginning, he said, Dad, it's so weird. Why are you always hanging out together? Because that's what we're just consistently. I mean, Mama is at our house right now measuring for a bathtub that she plans to install. So she also remodels
in the
our
basement.
house.
Yes.
Our furniture, your
Cleans.
closets.
Yeah.
So, I would say that was probably one of the most daunting challenges for us personally, was the blending of not only the immediate family, but the extended family that came along with me, and the lack of personal space that you were not used to experiencing.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, I wanted to invite you to, if at any time you wanted to shop your health or life insurance rates, to reach out to us through the description section below where it says redtailorinsurance.com. Click that link. My team of experts will go to work for you for free, so you have nothing to lose. We're going to search the market where we have hundreds and hundreds of different companies, different plans, to see if we can help. If we can't, we're going to advise you to stay right where you are, and if things ever change, to reach back out to us at that time, and we'll go to work then. Okay, so thanks a million, and enjoy the show. Yeah, thankfully we got a big house, and there are a couple of different corners that I can go to hide away and get some quiet time. But in real life, that doesn't happen anymore. It was certainly a big adjustment for me to make. It was certainly a big adjustment for Grace and Kennedy, because we had not had immediate family, and we weren't accustomed to that, and so, but it's something that now it's normal. It's our life. It's who we are, as a family. And I think that what has enabled us to be able to do that in an impactful manner, it's not always happy. It's not always roses. It's not always easy. But it's a desire to fulfill whatever the vision is that we have for our family down the road. I think that you and I both, we have a similar vision of what 80 looks like, of what 85 years old looks like. And with that vision in mind, that guides us to kind of the decisions that we make, the sacrifices that we make, the compromises that we make for everybody to be able to live in this little world that we've kind of created for each other, and that we're continuing to create in a very synergistic manner.
Yes, I mean, it can be exhausting at moments, but to know that our door is always open, to know that our children feel our door is always open. I mean, my oldest bonus daughter, when she called us and said, hey, I need a home for a little bit. And she felt comfortable enough and confident knowing that our door was open and they were welcome. And as we grow into our 80s, I think we both have a passion for children. I think we both have a passion for mentoring and ministering. And so we don't just open our doors to our children or our family. We open them to their friends. We open them to our neighbors. And as we grow older, I want to continue that lifestyle and that legacy. I want my grandchildren, and I know you do as well, to feel like we're home. I want Christmases to always be full, and Thanksgivings and Saturday nights and Sunday mornings. I think that's important for both of us. And I think it's something that your children did not get to experience at first. My children have kind of always been used to this, but it was an adjustment period. Your son never wanted to wear the Christmas PJs, the traditional Christmas PJs that we do every year. I mean, I remember first year, he wouldn't even put them on.
I ain't putting that on.
I think the second year we got the pants on, maybe. I think it still had a normal shirt. Year 3, I was just running behind, and I remember him coming to me one day. And I mean, at this point, he had to have been 16, almost 17, and he's, where are the Christmas PJs? I'm like, you want them now, but that's what I want for our children. I want those memories. I want those things that they can count on and that give them that warm and welcoming and fuzzy feeling. I think last year we bought for all of our children, our grandchildren, extended family members, and I want to say some friends that we included. I don't even want to say what the PJ Christmas bill was.
Please don't tell me.
I don't think you would let me buy them again this year if I
Please don't
did.
tell me.
But it's priceless to me. So
Yeah, a lot of people that are going to watch this show are going to be like, how in the world do they do that? Because when you have blended families, then, you have his and hers and, ours and all that kind of stuff. And there are all these different feelings and emotions and possessive and jealousy and envy and all that stuff that goes along with that. And I would imagine that we have some of that in our family as well, naturally. And so, what has enabled us to be successful and continue to be successful down that, with this set of circumstances that we have, is it the fact that we don't focus on any of those little smaller inequities that we have? Is it that we're focusing and trying to expand the bigger overall goal and overall vision and overall desires that we have, or what is it?
Well, I think part of it is we try to be intentional with acknowledging from the beginning that this wasn't going to be easy. I think sometimes people get this misconception, I love you, you love me, it's meant to be, let's do this, and they don't prepare for what's to come. And I think you and I knew, that this was a mountain that we were both going to be climbing, but again, our children were very different. I think we were intentional about understanding that each of our children still had individual needs and that they were individuals inside of this relationship you and I were forming together. Mm-hmm. So it was important for both of us to acknowledge them, acknowledge their feelings, make sure that they were included, and to create some stability, because let's be honest, it wasn't a stable time. You're changing households, you're meeting new people, you're blending different habits. Your ex-wife, she was a clean freak from what I understand. I'll just go ahead and openly admit now, I'm not. I mean, you go into my house on any given day and stuff is everywhere. I mean, we're not messy by any means, but I'm not an organized.
It's not. I'm a clean guy, and we're both clean guys, but we allow our home to be lived in.
Yes, I'm not an organized person. It's a little bit more chaotic. There were adjustments on both sides, but I did want to create a safe space for all of our children. When we first got together, I went and bought a cookie jar. Or it's not really a cookie jar, but it's little plate, and I think you could have called it like a cake holder, but I put cookies in it.
It was a cake holder. It is a cake holder. It's still there.
It's still there to this day.
Probably the fourth rendition of it, maybe the fourth
it's
version.
Been accidentally damaged a few times. Again, a house full of children, it happens. A top of glass probably wasn't the smartest decision I made, but the jar in general, or the plate in general, I felt like it signified something that was constant for our children amidst all the change. So even when your children came to my house, if they could count on nothing else, they could count that they could walk in that door and no matter what, walk to that counter and get a cookie. And I know it seems like the most simplistic concept, but for a time in a child's life when so much is changing, to know with assurance that that one minor thing is there and will always be there, I think it created a sense of safeness for our children. And not only for our children, but eventually their friends. I mean, there was nothing that warmed my heart more than, Miss Stephanie, we love your cookies. Thank you so much for those cookies. Every single time we come in, we get those cookies. And I remember, fast forward almost 10 years, and as we know, your son has moved out. He's in his own place now, but he walked in the other day, and he looked at me and he said, it's always full of cookies, still, to this day.
So symbolic.
So it's a constant. It's something that they know when they come to our house, they can count on. And so again, during a time with so much change, I think it was important to create that safe space, that moment where they felt like no matter what, this was a constant for them. And then above and beyond that, just letting each of them know that they're important in their own way.
Yeah, it's been really symbolic that that is a safe place. That it's a place that they could call home, that they could feel at home, that they could feel secure, and that they could bring their friends and spend safe, easy time there. And I give you really all the credit on that because that's more your area of specialty. That's more in your heart. Me, I'm kind of an old football coach. I want things done a certain way. I want people achieving. I want people doing, overcoming their crap and their issues and moving in a certain direction. And so, you have helped me to kind of become the softer version of myself, which needed to happen. And still needs to continue to grow, in that direction. I do, simply because I'm learning to accept that just because I have a vision of life or a vision of what I want them to be like or do, that's not necessarily the way that things should be or will be. And that just because I want control, I don't have control, and I don't need control. That God ain't given me all the control. Go back to that time where we did have the scenario where we had my daughter. They had gotten in some financial trouble. She and her husband, with the three small children, all under the age of 6, asked us to move into the basement. And when I got the call, I immediately, or actually it was a text, I immediately I called you into my office, and I just kind of handed you the phone. Okay. I just showed you the text, right? You read the text and you looked up at me, and the first thing that you said is, "There's no way you can tell her no." And we went through about a 10-month period, I think it was, where our lives changed dramatically. How did that affect you? How did that affect us? How did that affect the family? Just be real with it. I mean, just authentically.
I mean, I think there was a range of emotions. To be completely honest, first and foremost, I was thankful finally somebody that wasn't from my side of the family needed to be in our home for a minute, because it felt like it was always my family. And finally, when she called and said, "Hey, I need a place," I'm like, "Oh, thank goodness, finally." But it was a lot to process. I mean, our family has a lot of dynamics. I mean, you have a history before me, and part of that history hasn't always been open to me. I was new and I was different, and everybody had all these pre-misconceptions. And your oldest daughter, as amazing as she wasn't present a lot. And I mean, I don't blame her for that. She had 3 children of her own and a husband, but I didn't know her. So
yeah, you didn't even. I mean, you'd probably been around Jasmine, what, 4, 5 times?
Maybe. I mean, towards the first couple years of our relationship, she didn't even come on holidays.
Right.
I mean, there was a lot that we had to overcome and kind of weather there. So she was an unknown to me in so many different ways. But I mean, at the same time, again, I was raised that when it comes to family, that is what you have family for. You show up for each other. No matter what, you show up. So it was important to me that she also experienced that. I wanted her to know that we would show up for her, like it or not. I mean, I'm not going to say I was in there like throwing a party, that I was now about to have 3 additional babies in my home, plus a woman I barely knew and her husband, but it's what you do. And I'm thankful that we did it. I got to know our grandchildren better. They are amazing. I did get to know Jasmine better. And I don't think if I were to ask her today if that was how she felt reflecting on that time, I don't know that she would say it was the best time of my life. Let's be honest. She's in a basement without a kitchen. We didn't even have a washer and dryer. I mean, there were no set bedrooms. Bless her heart. I commend her. So I don't think that she's ever going to say, well, that's a time I look back on and I think of it in a positive manner. But I do think if I were to ask her, she would say that it meant a lot that we were willing to show up for her. And in turn, I hope one day if she's ever in that position and somebody called her, that she would do the same. But it was hard for our family.
Yeah, it was. And the reason I want to share this story and just be open about it is I think that we're in a world right now where, young families are having a tough time financially. They're also having a tough time in their relationships. And many, parents like us and at our stage of life are eyeing the possibility or probability of having an adult child move back in and move back home, and all that goes with it. And what we want everybody to know is it ain't easy, okay? But once again, let's go back to what we stated earlier is that our vision, what do we want to look like when we're 85 years old, is we wanted a family first unit that knows where that home base is. They know somebody's got their back, okay? And we feel like as long as God has given us the ability to do that and a place for them, that's what our responsibility and our desire is. And we went through a period of time there that was very difficult. I mean, let's just be honest. It wasn't easy.
Difficult for reasons also other than just having the children in our home. I mean, we are still a marriage. We're still individuals and human beings as well.
Well, marriage don't stop. It didn't. Time out. Let's just, me and you, we don't matter anymore. Let's just focus on all this. Now, let's be real about it. We still have crap every single day. Okay. I don't understand what there is about me that you wouldn't love on a daily basis, right? Or just, but somehow you find a way.
What I loved is when she came up to me and she said, I'm just looking back now, I'm so glad that my dad found you because he really needed a woman that, doesn't really argue with him or tell him when he's doing anything wrong or get on to him. And I looked at her and it wasn't the time to correct, but I thought, oh, honey, if you only knew the conversations that we have once all heads are laid down and nobody else is listening. The only difference is I don't have to advertise them to everybody. There's a way to have your disagreements without bringing your children and your family into the situation. But we had to be intentional about that. I call it a win that the whole time she was living there, she thought that I never disagreed with you. I mean,
well, it's what. That is a huge win, by the way, and that's largely a credit to you, and the fact that when we do have disagreements or when we are a little pissed at each other, that we're not going to bark it off throughout the home, and we're not going to carry it through different rooms of the home. We're going to go and we're going to say, hey, can we have a conversation? And we're going to sit down, by ourselves, away from everyone else, and we're going to hash out the disagreement, okay? You have a right to disagree with me. I have a right to disagree with you. And we do have a right and a responsibility if we want to have a good, impactful, and joyful wedding or marriage to be able to communicate that to each other, okay? Listen, if I'm pissed at you, I need you to know that, and I need you to know why, okay? But there's a way to do it that makes it safe, okay? We're not mean. We don't say mean things to each other. We don't yell at each other. We don't, degrade each other. Those things are off limits in our home. You've never done that to me, and I've never done that to you. And my expectation is, and your expectation is, that we never will, okay? And we certainly will never engage our children in our disagreements or our troubles, which we have. Okay, it's none of their business, and it's not their responsibility. And so that's one of the things that I feel like, and I didn't realize that she had said that to you. That's a huge win for us. Notwithstanding the fact that we were able to really assist that family, that extension of our family, during a really rough time of their life.
Mm-hmm. I think relationships in general are so difficult. And then when you bring children into the picture, whether they had been our children together or in the case of a blended family, our relationship, whether it be good, bad, positive, negative, is not our children's burden to carry. And so it was always very important to me that my children, your children, if we are having a struggle, that's not something that we put on their back for them to carry, because children do so
Yes.
much when they love their parents the way they love their parents. And when they want that home unit, everyone wants home. To
Yes.
know that there is discord, to know that there's anger or resentment or blame, our children carry that. And that was so important to me because I might have experienced that in my own past with my own family, with my own mother and father. I come from, a blended family. My parents divorced young. I learned, and I didn't want my children and or your children to experience that. I think it's so important.
Yeah, they're not ready for it. They don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have been intentional about that is really one of, the things that I'm most pleased with, is that, really and truly, they've never seen us have a real disagreement. And we don't really have a lot of them. Let's be honest, we don't. And it may be because you don't ever tell me when I'm doing wrong. But I do know that you do. So she's got red hair just like I do. So there ain't no holding back when it gets time. But it comes from such a place of love. It comes from such a person of respect and adoration that when that does come, then I have to make myself stop and listen and engage. Because if I am truly placing our relationship at the forefront, and I think that's what so many couples fail to do. So many married couples right now are struggling, and they're going through this existence of just drudgery. They're not on the same page with their spouse. They don't enjoy each other. They don't like each other anymore. And so they pour their energy and their time into so many other things that don't bring fulfillment to the marriage, is because they don't put the marriage first place. They're putting their children in front of the marriage. They're putting their occupation, their career. They're putting their hobbies. They're putting everything in front of the marriage. And when you do that, the marriage is going to be last. It's going to be way down that ladder. And that may be one of the main reasons why we see over 50% of all marriages in America end in divorce. And then what percentage of the remaining are actually happily married couples.
Well, and this might be a little bit off topic. I feel like we could have an entire discussion on this one day. I was never taught what to look for in a spouse growing up.
Me neither.
Nobody ever taught that to me.
No.
They didn't communicate it to me. So in my mind, other than watching Beauty and the Beast or, Princess Diaries or whatever show where man meets woman, man falls in love with woman, I was never taught. So when it came to me, and let's be honest, this obviously you're not my first marriage, so I've tried it before, and I feel like a lot of reasons I failed was because I didn't understand what I was truly looking for. And I feel like we have got to do a better job with this next generation of really articulating what it means to commit to someone for the rest of your life and what it is you're really looking for, because I didn't know. And I made the wrong choices because I wasn't equipped with the correct tools from a young age. Mm-hmm. I'm not pro-divorce, but I'm also not pro putting yourself in a situation that is harming, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically. So when I got married, not making the proper choices, I was put in harm's way. I ended up married to somebody who was not making healthy choices. It was detrimental. It wasn't just me trying to listen to him more or be more present. It was truly a situation where there was life or death potential consequences that I had to end up separating myself from. But it wasn't until I did meet you that the light bulb went off on what really is important in a relationship, what's important in a partner. You're not my husband, you are my partner. my partner in all the things I do. And when I'm selecting a partner to go through all this with, I have to have the right fit. It's no more different than a job interview. If you don't have the right qualifications for what I need, you're never gonna work in the job. And I didn't learn that until closer to the time that I met you. And when I did meet you, I knew that you had, not that you were perfect. Lord Jesus knows you're not.
Oh, come on.
I'm not perfect. But you had the qualifications that I needed, and it allows us to have a healthy relationship with each other because we both have a healthy foundation, and we entered into our marriage with very different expectations. And I think we both did that because we learned from our previous relationships. But we need to get to a place where we're teaching the next generation so they don't have to learn the way we did, where we can articulate to our children and their children and those that are out there younger that are thinking of getting married, what you're really looking for when you're looking for that life partner. It's not just, sparks and, butterflies. And I mean, let's be honest, when I first met you, I didn't feel butterflies. I think I felt a little bit of disdain. I was like, he makes me so mad.
Stay on that. And kind of go in the direction when you're talking about partners and we do a lot of business ventures together. Most everybody I've ever met says, man, I would never want to work with my wife, or I'd never want to work with my husband, spend all that time around them. And I really feel like, the more we're with each other, the better we are. I mean, you're my best friend, and I feel like I'm your best friend. And if I'm not, I'm going to be really hurt, but I know that I am. And the more that we grow together, the better we are together. And how have we been able to see the transition of our lives together, and not only just being husband and wife, but being business partners and doing deals and looking for things like that, and being able to do that in a healthy manner?
Gosh, I feel like am I allowed to speak freely here? I don't know. I feel like I'm getting put in a corner a little bit, because when we first got married, I don't know that the whole partnership from a business perspective was necessarily on your radar as much as it was mine.
Heck no.
I think you're like, I'm sorry, you have what you have, I have what I have. I'll do my thing. You go do whatever you think your thing is, and we'll just meet back up at the end of the day. So I feel like it was a little bit of transition. It was a lot of call it God or call it the universe reminding both of us, but you especially, that we're better together. I can think of many times where you would do something on your own, and then you would pull me in towards the end of it, and we would have other people present, and they would look at us and say, you guys are better together. It was a constant affirmation. And so I think both of us got to a place where we realized we have the same goals. We want to get to the exact same end finish line. And you are better at things that I am not good at. You can be more blunt than I can be, especially in business. You have a higher expectation than I have on others. I feel like I give a little bit more grace, and that's not always great when it comes to a business perspective. It's great on a life perspective. You give all the grace you can, but when you're trying to run a business, when you're trying to be profitable, when you're trying to reach a goal, you can't quite give as much grace always. And so we got to a place where I think we both realized we have the ability to balance each other's weaknesses.
Right.
And we also have very different perspectives, but with the exact same end goal in mind. And when you're willing to listen to each other and you truly value and respect each other, you listen to the other person's ideas. That doesn't mean there are sometimes you get defensive, or there are sometimes I get defensive. I don't want to hear what you have to say because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's different than how I feel, but it's what I need to hear. And looking at what we're doing and being able to see us move the needle forward together and know we're experiencing that together, I feel like it helps solidify our relationship that much more, because again, I want to look back one day and I want to say, I built this because of you, not I built this in spite of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. I think that both of us want to build a dynamic company. I think we want to build a portfolio of businesses, of properties, and it's not. I don't think either one of us care a whole lot about the money. I don't. I mean, we like having money, and we like the fact that money is able to buy us our time and some trips and experiences and things like that. But but I think really it's more about accomplishing some goals. It's more about making deals and getting wins, and really being in a situation where we can help and give. Mm-hmm. We don't live an extravagant life. We don't have big toys and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but as far as that goes, as far as being business partners go, I'm so much more of a deal maker now. Right. When I see something, I will sign on the dotted line. I will make it happen right then. You have an introspective position to where you're looking at this situation like, well, what does it look like 2 years from now? What does it look like 3 years from now? Okay. What about an exit strategy? And so I think that really does balance me out. And also for me, where I see something that I think is a win, being able to do it now rather than take an awful lot of time to look at every single angle, and you lose opportunities that way.
You do. You do. No, I think you're more of a risk taker. I want to take a breath and kind of look around the next corner a little bit more than you do. But again, there's a time to take the risk. There's a time to make the jump. And so there are times where I have to humble myself and go, okay, even though I might not feel fully warm and fuzzy, I think he's right. And I have to have faith in you and what you've decided. And at the end of the day, no matter whether I make the call or you make the call, the true part that works is once we've done it, we've done it. There's no I told you so. There's no you were wrong, I was right. It's just this is what we have. Where are we going to go from here? Yeah,
we're all in.
Yes, and I think that's important. It's not in any part of the relationship in business or personal. You can't, it's your fault. It's what we have.
Right.
So what are we going to do to make it work?
Well, I think we both understand that you're not going to win every game. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're not going to win every time. You're going to make some mistakes along the way. If you're in the game, that's one of the things that I've learning as I continue to do this show, and that you've been, encouraging me, this whole time, is that, I've come to a point where I don't care if my brother, if my best friend, if my coworker, if, my cousin, if somebody that lives down the street, I'm to a point where I don't care if they're judging me, if they're looking at, this content and say, Red's making a fool out of himself, or he's stupid for doing this, or he's stupid for doing that. So, how in the world am I going to give someone credibility to speak into my life when they're sitting in the stands watching me play the game?
No, they're definitely judging. I know they're judging.
Everybody's judging. Everybody's judging.
I've even gotten the comments before.
Yeah. So if you're judging me, listen, I get it. I probably judge myself way more than you, but maybe I'm not speaking to you. Maybe I'm speaking to that one person that hears this today that it's going to help. That's it. Because that's where we are in our life. And that's what I think is truly, transformative about you and I's relationship and this journey that God's got us on. And let's not, we should have said that from the beginning. This is a God thing. It's a God inspired and a God led journey that we're on. Is that what we've been given, and the job that's been placed on our heart is to go out and to live a life that's impactful to others and in service and in help of others.
Well, I think people have always gravitated towards you. I don't have that same gift. People don't gravitate towards me the way we go out in public, and complete strangers will hoop and holler over you and your hair. I'm like, he must have paid actors that he set up in advance. Like, how does this happen so often? But people do. They gravitate to you. And I've always told you that I think you have a big purpose. And this is a newer journey that I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit uncomfortable with in the beginning, because again, it does put so much judgment in front of you. It puts you under the microscope. But you have such a purpose ahead of you, and you have an important story. And what is so exciting to me in this podcast and everything that you're doing, and the people like Vince that you have around you that believe in you, is you're growing. And this is just documenting that growth, which is absolutely phenomenal to me. It's exciting to be able to look back one day where I know you'll be and look back at where it started. And I just think that that is such a tremendous gift. And for those that are judging, it hurts my heart for them that, that's the first thing that they want to go to. But at the same time, not everybody's built for this. Not everybody thinks you should be out front. You should be sharing your story. You haven't truly shared your story yet. I've said that before, but I know you will, and it's a beautiful story, and it's one that I think needs to be told, and one that I think is going to help so many, just like I think our story one day will help so many.
Yeah, and the thing that keeps me, grounded in this is, my mother was murdered. She was killed in the middle of the night, okay, in a moment's notice. And we're all gonna look up. We're gonna be gone someday. I mean, that is what we know for sure. We will return to our Maker. I had a kid Saturday, kid that I coached in baseball back when I think he was 11, 12 years old, and remember his dad. His dad was a good guy, and he worked down in the state capitol down in Georgia, and he just loved his son. He loved it. He loved watching him play baseball, and he was a good man. And anyway, Brody went home, Sunday morning, found his dad, passed away in the bed. And what I want the reason that I bring that message up is that none of us know when our time is over. We don't know what the number of days that we have left. And, what I want everybody to understand is that one of these days you are going to be gone. And so when you are gone, your family, they're going to talk about you, and they're going to keep your memory alive for 3-6 months. And, but everybody, life goes on. Life goes on without you. It does. It happens. And one thing that I know in documenting this journey of mine, of this show, is that, one of these days my grandchildren, one of these days my great-great-grandchildren, if they want to know who I was and what I was about, they're going to be able to go to YouTube or whatever space it is at that point in time, and there's going to be some videos of their old, ugly old redheaded, granddad out there talking and telling his story and talking to other people. So, at least I have an opportunity to be able to speak into the next generation and the generation after that of my family's life, a little bit of who I am and what was important to me. And that means a great deal to me. And that continues to propel me and give me courage to get in front of this camera, behind this microphone, and talk a little bit more. What do you see as our future this next year? You saying that, you think that there's going to be some growth. What do you see the future of this thing going?
Oh gosh, it's hard for me to say. I'd like to believe that it's impossible for me to see what the future of this looks like, because it's so much better in my mind than anything I probably could envision on my own, because I believe when God has his hand in a purpose, the possibilities are endless. I'd like to see, more growth for you. I'd like to see more growth in our relationship, but truly I would love to get out there and see this impacting and helping others, see you impacting and helping others, inspiring others, lifting others up, and then being able to help other people, through charities and through additional support. There's just so many. Once you have a voice, once people decide that you are respected enough that they want to listen to you, you can then take what's important to you, what you're passionate about, and you can articulate it to others, and you can light a fire in others. And so imagine yourself right now as this single candle that's lit, and there's all these people around you, right, with all these unlit candles. And every single time you're putting yourself in front of that camera, another candle is getting lit. And by the time we look up at the end of this, it's going to be this endless sea of candles that you have lit, fires that you have lit in other people, allowing them to go out and chase their dreams. And it's going to be a beautiful thing, and I'm going to be so proud.
That's a beautiful. That was beautifully said and beautifully stated, and that's one of the reasons I love you so much. So,
for the record, you said this was only going 20 minutes.
I don't know how long we've been talking now, Vince. 30?
I'll tell you guys afterwards.
one of the things that I wanted to bring out today is something that you've been very, very passionate about, and really haven't found your footing and haven't found, a way to put it into action yet. And it's because we've, raising children and running businesses as well. But you've always had a passion for helping single moms or, abused moms. And that's something that I came from a single mother, and I've got a passion for single mothers as well, and I've got a heart for single mothers. They got it tough. What do you see? What put a vision into that? Give that life right now. As far as how do you see that unfolding in the future?
That's hard for me to say because I haven't put much thought to that. I mean, I feel like I'm focused on helping you and helping our children. So, like you said, I'm bad about probably being me focused. I don't do that very often. I think I'm a great writer. I would love to write one day, and I do think that I have a very interesting and unique story. And I do have 3 children that I've supported financially on my own up until meeting you. Physically, there was not even an ex-husband that was there for a support system. So that was very interesting to navigate. But I think so many women out there feel alone and they feel powerless, and they look at their lives and they look at these little human beings that they're responsible for, and all they can think is, how am I going to do it? But you can't. It's possible. You do it. You don't even know how you do it. You just do it. But I had a support system behind me and my family that consistently encouraged me. I can't say they were there every single day helping me do it, but they did give me words of encouragement. They gave me hope. And so I would love one day to remind other women that even when you feel like there's no future, when you feel like who's going to want me, I have 3 children and this baggage and this history, somebody is going to want you. You are of value. You do have purpose. And I hope to be able to remind women one day that they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to have this perfect standard, or it's okay to fail and have a marriage that didn't work and still be an example for your children. I just don't know. I can't really say what that's going to look like yet. I don't know. It's not my time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to give life to it today, and I don't know why, but it was just put on my heart just now hearing you explain that. And I think what you're trying to say, as far as that goes, for those moms, is that just because you have experiences in your past, just because you've had some bad things that have happened, you probably made some mistakes. We've all made some really bad mistakes in our past. That does not have to dictate your future. It's not a life sentence. Don't let your past dictate your future. Okay, learn from the lessons and go towards the grace and the mercy that you're given. Go towards that person, the dreams that have been placed in your heart. Even if you are a single mother and you don't have a vision of the way out, you still have a dream in your heart. See, I believe that almost everybody knows what they're passionate about. I believe it's in there. I'm telling you, I think even from a child, even from when they were little, they knew what they were passionate about. They knew what they liked. They knew what was important to them. What happens is society dumbs us down and makes us believe that we can't be successful, make money, have a big house, have nice cars, take big vacations, have nice things in chasing that passion. But in reality, that's how we find the fulfillment and the joy in our life. And so it's just having the courage to be able to step out of that and do that. So even though we've had an abusive, even though we've had a past that's full of pain, full of failure, full of disappointment and frustration, it doesn't have to dictate our future. Okay? Put it behind you, learn from it, and go in a different direction.
I think for women, what's important to me to let them know is if you feel like you're in a situation where you feel stuck in a relationship that isn't healthy, whether it be your spouse has substance abuse or they have anger issues or they are just, so over the top narcissistic and just emotionally beating you down. I want women, I think we always crave security so much that sometimes we don't think we can do it on our own. We're not strong enough. And, you know, I was there. I mean, I became a mother at 19 years old and a mother again at 20. I have two kids that are 10 and a half months apart. And I had a husband that had just developed horrible substance abuse, and it was putting myself and my children in a dangerous situation. And to be 22 years old with two babies, 10 and a half months apart, and think about walking away, I mean, to even tell you what that looked like, I think I've practically blocked it out because it was such a time in my life.
No college degree.
No college degree. I mean, I was in sales. I was selling furniture, okay? To walk away was one of the scariest things I ever did, but I loved my children more than I had the fear of the future, that I knew no matter what was coming, anything was better than the situation that I was putting them in. But that's what there are so many women I know that are in the same situation now, similar situations, and they're too fearful to make that move. And I want women to understand you are more capable than you could ever dream you are. You just have to take that first step.
Just start, just do it. Go towards love, go away from fear. Is what I'm hearing you say. So listen, I know that we've got to wrap this up, and I know that a lot of people are going to want to get in touch with you after hearing this story. And we're going to, I'm telling you, people are going to love you like I do. So we're going to have to do more of these. But where do people go to find Stephanie Taylor if they want to tap into you and learn more about you?
Oh gosh, Stephanie Taylor doesn't really have a platform because Stephanie Taylor has too much going on.
Where do your social medias?
My social media is at Redhead Diary. Or you can put in Stephanie Taylor.
Instagram at Redhead Diary.
Instagram at Redhead Diary. Don't judge the name. I made the name way back.
It's a good name. You're a writer.
Stephanie Taylor. And then, of course, Stephanie Faye Taylor on Facebook. I am on there as well.
What about your real estate business? If they want to list or buy a home with you, where do they go?
Well, just send me an email, arrivehome@gmail.com. You can find me there. I'd be happy to help you out and sell a house or two for you. But yeah.
You're a gifted realtor, and you're a truly amazing woman, and I'm very, very thankful to have you as my wife, and my partner doing this thing with. So thanks so much for being here today. I know I surprised you with it, but you did great. You were awesome.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. That's it from the Red Hot Read. See you next time.